I checked my watch for the 10th time and forced a smile at the waiter. "Another 10 minutes?" I said. "She's on her way." "Of course, sir," he replied gently. "Would you like more water?" "Yeah, thanks." My hands were shaking, not from nerves. From excitement, 3 years together. Tonight I was going to propose. I touched the ring box in my pocket just to make sure it was still there. I opened our chat. "Me, where are you?" "Scene, 5 minutes past. I called her. It rang. Then voicemail. "Hey, it's Lena. Leave a message." I swallowed. "Hey, babe, I'm here." "Maybe traffic's bad? Call me." I ended the call and laughed quietly to myself. "Relax, she's probably getting ready." Another 20 minutes. The waiter came back. "Sir, the kitchen is closing soon." "She be here," I said quickly. "Just give us a little more time." He nodded, but I saw the pity in his eyes. My phone buzzed. My heart jumped. "Lena, something came up." "I'm sorry." That was it. 6 words. I stared at the screen. I typed back. "Me? Something came up? What does that mean?" "Delivered." No reply. I called again. Voicemail. I felt heat rising in my chest. I texted again. "Me. Lena, it's our anniversary. Scene." No response. I looked around the restaurant. Couples laughing, glasses clinking, soft music playing. I felt stupid. The waiter approached carefully. "Sir, should I cancel the dessert?" I forced a smile. "Yeah, cancel it." I paid the bill and walked outside. The night air felt colder than it should have. I told myself not to overthink. Maybe it was an emergency. Maybe someone got hurt. Maybe my phone buzzed again. Instagram notification. I don't know why I opened it. Maybe I wanted proof she was okay. Maybe I wanted to torture myself. Her story loaded. Music, laughter, city lights, a rooftop party, champagne glasses, and there she was. Lena. Wearing the red dress I bought her. Smiling. Laughing. Standing next to Victor Halle, he had his arm around her waist. She wasn't pulling away. In the background, someone shouted, "To second chances." Victor leaned closer to her and said, loud enough for the camera, "Feels good to be back on top." Her hand rested on his chest. Not pushing him away, not uncomfortable. Comfortable. Happy. I called her again. This time she answered. "What?" She said, annoyed. Music blasted behind her. "What is this?" I asked. My voice sounded calm, too calm. "It's just a party." "With him?" "It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" She sighed. "I told you something came up." "Our anniversary came up?" "Don't start," she snapped. "Are you with Victor?" It didn't sound like me. "You couldn't even tell me?" "I didn't want drama." "So you chose him?" "I didn't choose anyone," she said quickly. "You're being insecure." "Insecure?" I repeated. "You're at a rooftop party with your ex instead of being here. It's just closure." "Does closure look like his arm around you?" She didn't answer. I closed my eyes. "I had something planned," I said softly. "Look, I'll call you tomorrow." "Don't," I replied. "What?" "Don't call me tomorrow. You're overreacting." "Am I?" "You're making this bigger than it is." I looked up at the dark sky and felt very small. "Enjoy your party," I said. And I hung up. I stood there alone on the sidewalk, holding a ring she would never see. That was the moment I understood something. I wasn't losing her. I had already lost her, and I didn't know yet that this humiliation would become the fire that changed my entire life. I saw her the next morning at the coffee shop near my apartment. My stomach twisted the moment she walked in. Lena, hair pulled back, sunglasses hiding her eyes. She looked normal, like nothing had happened. I took a deep breath. "Morning," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Hey," she replied, glancing away. I sat across from her, placing my coffee down. "We need to talk." She avoided eye contact. "About last night?" "You missed our anniversary, for him, Victor Halle." She flinched. "He just needed closure. I didn't mean for it to." "Closure?" I laughed, sharp. "Closure doesn't happen at a rooftop party with champagne and your ex's arm around you." I wanted to tell you, but it wasn't easy." "Not easy?" I leaned forward. "You left me. For money. For him." "You didn't even have the courage to say it." Her jaw tightened. "You're being insecure?" "Insecure?" I repeated, disbelief lacing every word. "I spent weeks planning that night. I stopped. I could barely breathe. I thought you loved me." "I do," she whispered, finally looking at me. "But things are complicated." I slammed my hand on the table. Complicated? Your smile on that story told me it was simple. You chose him over me, Lena, over us. I didn't choose money, she insisted. Victor, I don't know, he's back in my life and I was confused. It doesn't mean I don't care about you. Confused? I laughed bitterly. You're 25. You shouldn't be confused about who you love. I gave you everything I could. I gave you me. She looked down, voice small. I know, and I hurt you. I'm sorry. I'm not sure you even understand what you did. You humiliated me online, and you don't even see it. Her fingers fidgeted with the sleeve of her jacket. I didn't mean to. I thought... You thought what? That I wouldn't notice? That I'd wait forever while you flirt with your ex? I stood up. Coffee sloshed slightly. Do you know how that feels? To feel small in your own life? I didn't think. Her voice cracked. I was stupid. You were more than stupid. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. Victor Halle just became CEO of Halle Dynamics. That explains a lot, doesn't it? She blinked. I see it now, all the distance, all the complaints about money. You weren't unhappy with me. You were unhappy with what I could give, and you chose him? She bit her lip, silent. Later, Marcus called me. I told him what happened, shaking. She chose money over love, man. She really did. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Look, man, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. She's choosing money, not you. You need to see that. I ran my hands through my hair. I don't want to believe it. I want to think she chose me. Marcus's tone softened. Deep down, you already know she won't. She made her choice, and it's not you. I sank onto my couch after the call, staring at the ceiling. Part of me wanted to fight for her. Part of me wanted to scream. But the truth sank in slowly, painfully. I was already losing her. I reached for my laptop. Halle Dynamics, stock prices, news articles. Victor's face stared back at me from a headline. Young CEO takes over family tech empire. I closed my eyes. Betrayal burned hotter than I expected, and somewhere, beneath the anger, beneath the heartbreak, I felt something else, a flicker of clarity. I didn't know what I would do with it yet, but I knew this. I couldn't trust Lena anymore. And I wouldn't let Victor get the best of me either. Something was about to change.
The engagement party started casually enough. Music, champagne, laughter. I thought I could survive this. I was wrong. Lena walked in with Victor, hands intertwined. Smiles plastered. People turned. I felt every gaze like a knife. Marcus nudged me. Breathe, man. Don't let them see you crack. I'm fine, I muttered, though my chest felt tight. Then Lena did it. She announced, loud enough for everyone to hear. Victor and I were giving it another try. Silence, I froze. Glasses clinked somewhere, but it sounded distant. Victor grinned at me, hand outstretched. Hey, he said casually, like he hadn't stolen everything from me in one sentence. I stared at him. Hey, I managed, voice calm, but my fingers itched to punch something. Congratulations, Marcus whispered. She made it public. That's brutal. I forced a smile. Yeah, great for them. She came closer, leaning toward me. I didn't want you to find out like this, Lena said softly. Too late, I replied. You made sure everyone knows. Victor laughed. Don't take it so hard. Life moves on, right? I'm not upset, I said, though my stomach twisted. I'm just observing. She frowned. Observing? Yes. Watching, seeing how you look now, seeing who you really are. Victor raised an eyebrow. Really? Is that necessary? Absolutely, I said. My heart pounded. You always wanted the spotlight, didn't you? I like clarity, Marcus muttered beside me. And right now we see who's blind. Victor glanced at him, confused. I smiled internally. Marcus was subtle, but effective. The night dragged on. Every laugh, every toast, every glance at Lena. And Victor burned. People whispered, casting sympathetic looks my way. I felt like prey. Later, I stepped outside with Marcus. Cold night air hit my face. I inhaled deeply. I can't believe she did that. You saw it coming, Marcus said. Halle Dynamics, Victor's money, she's predictable. But man, that's cruel. I wanted to confront her, I admitted. But not here, not like that. I can't be humiliated publicly. You don't need to. You've got something bigger now, Marcus said. What's bigger? That company she abandoned you for? It's falling apart. Victor's reckless. You're not there yet, but his voice trailed. I clenched my fists. I see it. I see everything. I need to do something. Slow down. Don't rush into revenge, Marcus warned. Plan, move quietly, I nodded. My mind raced. I remembered every slight, every lie, every stolen moment. I tasted anger, yes, but also determination. Victor thinks he's untouchable, I said quietly. But he's reckless. And reckless men make mistakes. And you're not reckless, Marcus reminded me. You're calculating, let him stumble. I stared at the dark sky. This isn't just about her anymore, it's about everything, about respect. About proving I'm not small, about winning. Marcus clapped my shoulder. That's the fire I like. Just keep it controlled, smart, not messy. I smiled faintly, teeth clenched. Smart, not messy. Got it. We walked back inside. The party continued. People laughed. Lena smiled at Victor, unaware. I didn't feel anger anymore. Not exactly. I felt focused sharp enough to cut through every humiliation, every betrayal, every fake smile. That night, I swore to myself. I wouldn't just survive this. I would rise. And when I did, Victor wouldn't see it coming. I threw myself into work the next morning. No calls, no texts, no distractions. Marcus, I said, setting my laptop on the desk. We're going to build this from the ground up, no shortcuts. He raised an eyebrow. You're serious? After everything? I'm serious, I replied, voice low. I've been underestimated for too long. It's time to change that. He leaned back. All right. What's the plan? We start with the cybersecurity prototype. Nights, weekends, whatever it takes. Investors will notice once it's solid. I'll handle code. You handle strategy. Marcus nodded. Got it. But what about Lena? She's still in the picture at Holly Dynamics. I paused. She's irrelevant now. That's not my problem anymore. I opened my laptop and started typing. Lines of code blurred together. Hours passed. My stomach growled, but I ignored it. Break? Marcus asked. No. I kept typing. We're close. Maya poked her head in. You've been in here all day? Lunch? Later? I said. I can't stop now. Not yet. She frowned. You look exhausted. Are you okay? I'm fine. I lied. But I wasn't. Not really. Not yet. Weeks passed. Every night I stayed at my desk, Marcus beside me. Coffee cups piling up, ideas flowing. Holly Dynamics was making risky investments under Victor's leadership? Every news alert made me smile quietly. I watched him stumble without moving a muscle. You're smiling like a maniac, Marcus said one evening. What? I'm thinking, I replied. Victor's arrogance is going to be his downfall. And when the timing is right, we move. He shook his head, impressed. You really hate that guy. I don't hate him, I said. I just don't want him to win. Simple as that. Maya came in with snacks. You two need to eat something. You're working yourselves to death. I'll eat later, I said, eyes glued to the screen. Lines of code scrolled past. Every function, every security patch, every protocol mattered. You're obsessed, she said softly. Don't lose yourself in this. I won't, I said. I'm not losing me. I'm building something better, something solid. Something they'll notice. Late nights blurred into early mornings. Marcus handled calls with investors. I wrote proposals, debugged code, and drafted presentations. Your prototype is ready for a demo, Marcus said one night. Investors will want a meeting soon. I nodded. Perfect. Let's wait for the right time. Maya leaned against the doorframe. You're quiet. Planning something big? I smiled faintly. Maybe, but it's not about her anymore. It's about me, my future, my life. She tilted her head. And if she comes crawling back? I laughed quietly. She won't, not really, and even if she does, it's too late. I'm not that guy anymore. Months went by. The prototype got attention. Small investors, tech enthusiasts, eventually larger firms. Each email, each call, each meeting added fuel to the fire burning quietly in me. I remembered the rooftop party, the Instagram story, the humiliation. I felt the sting still, but it wasn't pain anymore. It was motivation. Makes you feel powerful, huh? Marcus said during one late-night session. Not yet, I replied. We're not there, but soon I'll have control. I glanced at my phone. Lena's messages were unanswered, ignored. Victor's name popped up in a headline. Holly Dynamics faces financial strain after risky investments. I leaned back, letting a smile creep across my face. Timing is everything, Maya shook her head. You're scary when you focus like this. I'm not scary, I said. I'm just done waiting. Done being small. Done being powerless. Marcus nodded. Then let's make sure they notice the change when it comes. Slowly, quietly, smartly. I closed my laptop and looked at the dark skyline outside. The city sparkled below like it didn't know what was coming. We're going to take everything, I whispered to myself. Everything they think they own. And in that quiet moment, with only the hum of the computer and the night surrounding us, I felt the first taste of real power. Not from money. Not from revenge. But from the fire inside me. And I knew nothing would stop me now. I was sitting in our small office when Daniel Cross walked in. Quiet. Sharp. His eyes scanned the room like he already knew the numbers before looking at them. Impressive work, he said, shaking my hand. Your prototype shows real potential. Thanks, I replied, heart racing. We've put everything into it. I can see that, he said, leaning against the desk. But I'm also seeing an opportunity, I frowned. Opportunity? He smiled faintly. Halle Dynamics. Victor's company. It's vulnerable. He's reckless. I can help you acquire shares quietly. Build influence before he realizes what's happening. I froze. Wait, you mean take over a portion of his company? Precisely, strategically, quietly, no drama. I ran a hand through my hair. This isn't just business anymore. Lena works there. Marketing department. If I move forward, I could destroy her career too. Daniel nodded. That's the moral dilemma. But ask yourself, do you protect her or protect yourself? I looked at him silent, my mind spinning. Protect her or protect myself? For years, I protected her heart, and now she wasn't mine. She had chosen Victor. Marcus walked in, sensing my hesitation. Talk to me. What's going on? Daniel is suggesting we start buying shares in Halle Dynamics, I said, quietly. Victor's reckless leadership is an opening, Marcus whistled. Wow, that's bold. It's more than bold, I said, eyes narrowing. It's risky. If Victor catches on. He won't, Daniel interrupted. Not yet. You move smart, move carefully. And Lena? She's collateral, I muttered, bitterness creeping in. Marcus frowned. Collateral, is that how you feel about her? I clenched my fists. She chose him over me. She made her choice. I'm not protecting someone who doesn't deserve protection. Daniel nodded approvingly. Exactly. Your focus is your future. Your legacy, not hers. I paced. I don't want revenge, not really. I want fairness. Justice, control, not humiliation for the sake of it. That's wise, Daniel said. People who seek petty revenge rarely win big. You want something bigger, long-term, strategic, subtle. I sat down thinking. I pictured Lena at her desk, typing emails, pretending everything was normal. Victor boasting about new investors, and me, quietly buying shares, gaining influence, regaining power. Marcus leaned back. You've got the fire, man. But you're smart, you're calculating. That's a lethal combo. I laughed quietly. Smart and calculating. That's me now. I can facilitate the transactions. Wire transfers, private brokers. You won't even have to meet the board yet. By the time Victor notices, you'll be untouchable. Untouchable, I muttered, tasting the word. It felt good, powerful, right? But I hesitated. I keep thinking about Lena. She's still there. She's vulnerable. Do I cross that line? You already crossed it the moment she chose money over love, Marcus said firmly. Don't fool yourself. That's her reality, not yours. I closed my eyes, remembering the rooftop party, her smile, the champagne, Victor's arm around her. That memory burned hotter than any revenge fantasy. You're right, I whispered. It's her reality, not mine. Daniel nodded. Then we proceed, quietly, smartly, slowly. Build influence while they stumble. I picked up my laptop. All right, let's do it. Marcus grinned. Finally, action, I like it. Not for revenge, I said, tapping the keyboard. For power. For control. For my future. I'm done being small. Done being humiliated. Done being weak. Daniel leaned back. Good, that mindset will carry you far. But remember patience. Precision. Timing. I smirked. Timing is everything, and it's on my side now. As I began drafting the first transactions, a thrill surged through me. The kind you feel when you finally stop waiting for someone else to decide your fate. For the first time since the breakup, I felt untouchable. And I knew, in the quiet of that office, surrounded by Marcus and Daniel, that nothing could stop what was coming. not Victor. Not Lena. Not anyone. I was in control now, and I intended to keep it that way. I saw it first on my morning alerts. Holly Dynamics' latest product launch had failed. Again, investors were panicking. Marcus shook his head across the table. Victor's arrogance is catching up. Look at this. He pointed at the screen. Missed deadlines, revenue down, layoffs. He's a mess. I leaned back, sipping my coffee. He looks powerful online. But in reality? He's reckless. I can see it. Careful, man, Marcus said. Don't let your schadenfreude get too obvious. I shrugged. I'm just observing. Later that night, my phone buzzed. Lena. Hello? I said, wary. Part of me wanted to slam the phone down. Part of me didn't. I'm listening, I said cautiously. It's Victor. He's not what you think. He's controlling, cold. Her voice broke. I made a mistake. I stayed silent, letting her words sink in. You're crying, I finally said softly. I can't. He yells. He belittles. I didn't see it before. Lena, I exhaled slowly. So you missed security, not me. There was silence. I thought I wanted him, she continued. I didn't think I could lose everything. And you did, I said quietly. I do too, I admitted, voice barely above a whisper. But not everything can be fixed by apology. I know, she said. I wanted to tell you. I'm glad you did, I said. But I don't want to run back to you. I've stopped wanting you back, Lena. Not really. Her voice cracked. But you still care. Care? I laughed quietly, bitter. I care about the past I loved, not the present I don't. I care about the man I'm becoming. You're different, she said softly. I have to be, I said. Watching Victor fail isn't satisfaction. It's reality. It's seeing karma happen naturally. And it doesn't feel joyful. It feels heavy, sad, necessary. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling. Months of planning, of building, of watching, had brought me here. And yet this phone call wasn't about triumph. It was clarity. You sound calm, she said. I've stopped wanting what I can have, I said. I've realized the victory isn't in taking her back. It's in letting go, in wanting peace. I am sorry, she said, voice barely audible. I let it hang. Apologies don't fix what was broken. They don't erase choices. But thank you for telling me the truth. Don't say more, I said gently. I don't want to hear excuses, I just want clarity, and I have it now. There was silence on the other end, except for the faint sound of her breathing. You'll be okay, I said finally. Eventually. You'll learn, just not with me. Okay, she whispered. I hung up and stared at the phone. The room felt quieter than it had in months. Marcus looked up. Everything all right? I've stopped wanting her back, I said, completely. You sound different, he said. I am different, I admitted. I've stopped chasing a ghost. I've stopped letting past humiliation define me. The goal now is control, my life, my company, my future. He nodded. Then you're ready. I picked up my laptop and opened the market reports. Victor's stock was dropping. Revenue projections were slipping. Investors were panicking. I felt no glee, no malice. Just clarity. Focus. Patience. This was the emotional turning point. I didn't want her anymore, not really. I wanted peace. And now, more than ever, I wanted what was mine. Daniel and I were sitting in our strategy room. Spreadsheets and private broker reports spread across the table. So, Daniel said, leaning back, how fast do we want to move? Careful, I said, tapping the table. We can't rush. Victor's reckless, but he's still connected. We move slowly, quietly. Marcus nodded beside me. I've mapped out the channels. If we stagger purchases, no one notices until it's too late. Perfect, I said. Start small, then scale. By the time Victor realizes, I want to own more than half. But you've got patience, I've got focus, I said. Patience comes with it. Weeks passed. I stayed in my apartment, working long hours, avoiding Lena's messages. Ignoring the chaos Victor was creating at Holly Dynamics. Every failed launch, every investor pullout, I noted quietly. Look who's speaking at the tech conference tomorrow. He pointed to the email. My name was on the speaker list, showcasing our startup as a rising competitor in cybersecurity. I smirked. Time to test visibility. The next day, I stepped onto the stage. The lights bright, audience buzzing. I introduced our platform, discussed growth potential, and quietly, without mentioning anyone, highlighted gaps in current tech, pointing indirectly to Holly Dynamics' failures. I noticed a familiar figure in the audience. Lena. Hair pulled back, tired eyes, her posture stiff. And there Victor looking uneasy, glancing at the slides. I took a deep breath. Power shifts, I thought quietly. After the panel, backstage, Marcus whispered, "Did you see Victor's face? He knows something's wrong." I nodded. He's realizing control isn't absolute. Daniel clapped my shoulder. Good, that's the first ripple, keep going. Later, we made calls, bought more shares through quiet brokers. I checked Halle Dynamics' ownership report at night. Slowly my name rose. Percentage by percentage, stake by stake. Victor still had no idea. I remember the rooftop party, Lena's laugh, Victor's smug smile. The humiliation still lingered, but it fueled me rather than breaking me. Marcus looked at me, concerned. You're calm, but are you sure this isn't about revenge? I shook my head. It's not revenge. It's strategy, control, respect. That's the difference. Daniel leaned in. By the time the board sees this, Victor's power will crumble. You're not just taking over a company, you're proving something to yourself. I smiled faintly. Exactly. Not them. Me. A week later, I ran into Lena at a small industry mixer. She looked exhausted. Jake, she said softly, surprise flickering in her eyes. Lena, I said calmly. It's been a while. She glanced at Victor across the room. Things aren't great. I've heard, I replied. I hope you're managing, she nodded. Trying. We didn't talk much. She didn't need to know what I was doing yet. The quiet satisfaction of seeing her tension. Victor's stress, it wasn't joy. It was acknowledgement. A balance shifting. Back at the apartment, Marcus grinned. Your timing is impeccable. The next few months it's going to be wild. I tapped my fingers on the desk. Slow, precise, quiet. That's the key. We don't make mistakes now. Daniel added, every move builds momentum. The board, the investors, the employees, they'll see change coming before Victor does. That's control. From heartbreak to clarity. And it's just beginning. Marcus chuckled. Feels good, doesn't it? I smiled faintly. It feels right, not sweet, not bitter, right? Outside, the city lights glimmered. I imagined Halle Dynamics' boardroom. Victor's expression when he finally realizes I'm not just competing, I'm taking over. I whispered to myself, quiet but firm. The game has changed, and this time, I'm the one holding all the pieces. The takeover had begun, slowly, silently. Precisely and by the time Victor realized, it would be too late. The call came early in the morning. An emergency board meeting. Another financial disaster at Halle Dynamics. Looks like Victor's latest gamble backfired, Marcus said as we drove to the corporate office. This is it, the chance to step in officially. I nodded, silent, focused, calm. Let's make sure we do this right. No emotion, just facts. Daniel leaned forward from the passenger seat. Victor won't see it coming. He's arrogant enough to think he still controls everything. I smirked faintly. Good, let him think that. Pride blinds him. We entered the boardroom. The room was tense. Executives whispered among themselves. I walked up to the table, handed my identification to the secretary, and saw the report. Victor froze when he saw my name listed as a major shareholder. His eyes flicked to mine. I didn't flinch. Jake? He asked, voice tight. You have shares? Yes, I said calmly. Enough to influence decisions. The room went quiet, a few murmurs. A few glances at the numbers. Victor's jaw tightened. I don't understand. This can't be correct. I assure you, I replied. The report is accurate. Let's proceed with the agenda. He turned to the board. This is unprecedented. We can't. May I present the facts? Heads turned, whispers quieted. I laid out the numbers. Failed product launches, reckless spending, investor concerns, and my stake in the company. Marcus whispered, keep it calm. Let them see reason, not anger. I'm presenting facts, I said internally. Nothing more. This isn't your place. Actually, I said, it is. The company is publicly traded, shareholders have a voice. And I hold enough to call for action when necessary. The board exchanged glances. I outlined the issues systematically. Financial mismanagement, lack of strategic oversight, diminishing investor confidence. One executive finally spoke. The report is accurate. Action must be taken. Victor's face paled. He looked around desperately, seeking support. None came. A vote was called. One by one, hands went up. Majority in favor, Victor's position as CEO was terminated. I exhaled slowly. Calm, controlled, victory, measured, and complete. Daniel clapped quietly. Well done, nicely executed. Marcus smiled. Precision over chaos, that's the difference. Victor slumped into his chair, disbelief etched into his features. You can't do this, I built this company. You mismanaged it, I said softly, and I corrected it, that's all. Lena sat silently, her eyes wide, shock, confusion, maybe even fear. I didn't feel triumph over her, just clarity. This was never about humiliating her. It was about reclaiming my future. I leaned back, looking around the room. Majority control officially in my hands, a subtle power shift, a balance restored. Victor tried to speak again. Jake, this isn't fair. I shook my head. Fairness is irrelevant here. Reality isn't fair. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm ensuring survival mine, the companies, the employees. Lena's gaze met mine, no words exchanged. But the understanding was clear. I had moved on. Completely. Daniel whispered, next steps? Restructure, I said. Stabilize, restore confidence, integrity over chaos. That's my priority. Marcus nodded. You're doing this differently. Not for revenge, not for pride, for control, and people will respect that. I allowed a small smile. Exactly, control, not spite, calm, not fury, power, yes, but measured. The board meeting ended. Victor left, humbled, defeated, powerless. And for the first time I understood something fully. Victory wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming my life, my respect, my clarity. Walking out of the boardroom, I whispered to myself, this is just the beginning. The future is mine to shape. And for the first time in months, I felt a sense of peace, mingled with the quiet thrill of authority finally reclaimed. I watched it all unfold from my office window. The news alerts kept coming. Headlines screaming, Holly Dynamics faces major financial collapse. Marcus leaned over my shoulder. Victor's reckless spending is public now. Investors are pulling out faster than he can react. I sipped my coffee. I knew it would happen eventually. The arrogance, the shortcuts it catches up. Does it feel good? Marcus asked cautiously. I shook my head. Not really. Karma isn't sweet. It's heavy, sad, necessary. The next alert made me pause. Lena had been fired. Officially. Public statement. Company restructuring requires personnel changes. But the real reason was obvious. Victor's poor leadership had forced the company to scapegoat someone reliable. Marcus frowned. She's gone. Just like that? Yes, I said quietly. Collateral damage. And I don't feel triumph. Only clarity. I picked up my phone. A text from Daniel. Investor confidence is shifting. You have control. Be ready. I typed back, already on it. Later, the media exposed Victor's spending habits, luxury trips, bad investments, risky loans. Shareholders were furious, board members were panicked. Holly Dynamics stock plummeted. Victor called me, voice trembling. Jake, this isn't fair. I built this company. I'm not punishing you, Victor, I said calmly. You did that yourself. You planned this? He spat. No planning necessary, I said. You made the mistakes. I simply waited for the right moment. Facts, numbers, reality, not vengeance. I never thought what? I interrupted. That you were untouchable? That pride protects you? That arrogance shields failure? Victor stayed silent. I let him sit with it. Marcus walked in. Jake, the board confirmed my projections. Majority control is complete. You're officially in charge. I leaned back. I know, but that's not what matters. Watching Victor fall, it's not joy. It's the weight of seeing reality catch up to arrogance. Daniel entered, briefcase in hand. Investors are breathing again. They see stability. That's you, Jake. Not revenge. Leadership. I nodded. Exactly. Leadership. Not cruelty. Not satisfaction from humiliation. Just righting what was broken. Marcus shook his head. It's strange, isn't it? Watching the downfall you predicted, but feeling nothing but calm? It's clarity, I said softly. The past hurt. Lena's betrayal. Victor's arrogance, all of it. I can feel it, yes. But it doesn't dominate me anymore. Lena's image flickered in my mind, fired, shocked, vulnerable, and yet I didn't feel triumph. I didn't call her. I didn't gloat. She start over, I said quietly. Like everyone else in this story, that this isn't about her anymore. Daniel nodded. The company is stable, under your control. Investors are happy. Employees are relieved. Holiday Dynamics has a future finally. I stared out the window. City lights reflected like tiny stars. Victor's empire was crumbling, but not because of me. Because of choices he made, decisions he couldn't see through. Jake, Marcus said, breaking my thoughts. Does it feel empty? I shook my head. Not empty. Weighty, heavy. Real. That's what karma is. It's not entertainment. It's consequences. It's learning. Daniel added, and you learned without becoming bitter, without seeking petty revenge. That's rare. I smiled faintly. Maybe, but it's necessary. I wanted control, yes. Stability, clarity, respect, not joy from suffering. Marcus clapped me on the shoulder. Then you did it right, I exhaled. Right, that's all that matters. Let the fall happen naturally. I'll focus on the rise. And in that quiet moment, watching the chaos Victor created collapse under its own weight, I understood fully, revenge isn't sweet. Power isn't satisfying in itself. Clarity, that's the victory. The knock at my office door made me tense. I wasn't expecting anyone, Jake? Lena's voice, soft, hesitant. I looked up. She stood there, different. Not the confident girl who left me for Victor, vulnerable, tired. Lena, I said calmly. Come in. She stepped inside slowly, avoiding my gaze. Hands twisting nervously. I need to apologize. I gestured to the chair. Sit if you want. She did, quietly. I was scared of struggling. Scared of losing everything. I made a choice. You chose security over us, I said gently. I understand that now. Her eyes filled. I always loved you, Jake. I really did. But I let fear rule me, I nodded slowly. I know. I shouldn't have left you, she said, voice trembling. I shouldn't have let. Victor convinced me that money was better than love. Stop, I said softly. I don't need excuses. I needed honesty. You're being honest now. That's enough. She looked at me, almost pleading. Do you forgive me? I took a deep breath. Forgiveness isn't the point here. I've moved on, and that's my victory. She flinched slightly. Moved on? Yes, I said. I loved who you used to be, Lena, not who you became. The apology, it doesn't erase the choices. Tears ran down her cheeks. Jake, you don't get to define my peace anymore, I said gently. I've reclaimed it. My life, my company, my clarity, that's what matters. Not the past. Not regret. Not you. I understand, she whispered, voice breaking. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry. I hear you, I said, and that's enough. I wish you nothing but clarity too. That's all, she nodded slowly. I have to leave now. Start over somewhere else. I hope one day you can see that I truly meant it. Everything. I do, I said quietly. I do see it, and I see myself, stronger, clearer, in control. That's my path. Not yours. A pause. Silence. The kind that stretches but doesn't suffocate. You look different, she said finally. Calm. Controlled. I had to be, I said. Watching Victor and you. That was never about revenge. It was about me reclaiming my life, my future. My peace. She smiled faintly, sad but sincere. I see that. And I hope you keep it. I will, I said. No one can take it from me now. Not past mistakes. Not betrayal. Not anyone else's choices. She stood finally. Goodbye, Jake. Goodbye, Lena, I said, calm, unshaken, free. She left, closing the door gently behind her. I leaned back in my chair, a deep breath. For the first time in months, no anger, no hurt, no desire for revenge. Only clarity. This was my victory. Silent, unassuming, undeniable. Not revenge. Not humiliation. Not fantasy. Freedom. Control. Peace. I smiled faintly. That's enough. I walked through Holiday Dynamics' newly restructured office. The air felt lighter, cleaner, controlled. Marcus caught up with me. CFO status feels good? He asked with a grin. I smiled faintly. Feels right, not about power. About doing things differently, properly. I watched employees return to their desks. Some fired unfairly under Victor were rehired. Their relief was tangible. We fix mistakes, I said aloud. We don't punish. We rebuild. Maya appeared at the entrance, clutching her portfolio. Jake, I thought I'd join too. As a junior designer, she said shyly. You're more than welcome, I said, pride in my voice. This place needs creativity, integrity, perspective, and you may bring all of it. She smiled brightly. Thanks, big brother. The phone buzzed. A news alert. Halle Dynamics stabilizes under new leadership. Daniel walked in, calm as ever. Investors are pleased. Confidence is returning. You've done it, Jake. I nodded, but my mind wandered to Lena. She had moved to another city, starting over. Far away, Marcus said. You're thinking about her again? Not really, I said. Just acknowledging. She's no longer part of this story, and that's okay. That's clarity. We sat in my office. Marcus leaned back. You ever regret it? Taking control? The way things fell? No, I said. It wasn't revenge. Not bitterness. Not joy in failure. Just setting things right. Creating balance. That's all. Daniel chimed in. Your leadership is different. People respect it because it's not about ego. It's about fairness, strategy, integrity. I exhaled slowly. Exactly, that's the point. Control doesn't mean domination. Power doesn't mean cruelty. The real victory is calm, clarity, respect, my own. Maya walked by, smiling. Jake, we've got a design brainstorm. Want to join? I nodded, of course. Watching her energy, her enthusiasm, I felt hope, real hope, not tied to anyone else. Not dependent on approval. The office hummed with activity, conversations, collaboration, ideas flowing without fear or manipulation. Marcus leaned closer. So now that you're officially in charge, what's next? I looked out the window, city lights reflecting in the glass. Next, we build, sustain, innovate, not just for me, but for everyone who's part of this. Employees, investors, even those who doubted us. Daniel smiled. And Lena? Does she matter anymore? I shook my head. She's part of the past, the lesson. Not the future. I don't feel anger, not bitterness. Just clarity. Marcus chuckled softly. You really do own it, huh? Your life, your company, yourself. Yes, I said quietly, feeling the weight lift. I own myself again. That's the victory. Not revenge, not humiliation, not fantasies of the past. The phone buzzed again. A congratulatory message from a loyal employee. Thank you for restoring our faith in this company. I smiled, closing the message. Faith, respect, integrity. That's what matters. Not anger, not ego, not the past. I leaned back in my chair, eyes on the ceiling. Silence, but filled with possibility. Marcus whispered. Feels good, doesn't it? It feels right, I said, and finally peaceful. I stood looking around the office that once symbolized failure and betrayal, now transformed. My vision, my rules, my integrity. Let's get to work, I said. And for the first time in months, I felt free. The past was gone. The lessons remained. And the future, well, the future was mine. 1 year later, I walked into the same restaurant, same table by the window. Same quiet anticipation I once felt. But this time, I wasn't waiting for anyone. Marcus sat across from me. Funny, isn't it? He said, pouring water. Same place, same date, and yet completely different. I smiled faintly. Completely different. 1 year ago, I was broken. Humiliated, waiting for someone who didn't value me. You look calm, he said, controlled, content. I am, I said. Not perfect, not vindictive, not focused on anyone else's mistakes. Just me, and that's enough. A waiter approached. Can I get you anything? Just a coffee, please, I said. Marcus leaned back. So, reflection time? I nodded, watching the city lights outside. 1 year ago, Lena chose Victor over me. I felt powerless, humiliated, small, but that pain drove me to create, to reclaim control over my life. Marcus raised an eyebrow. And now? Now, I said, I own myself. Not just the company. Not just my career, my clarity, my peace, my respect. That's the real victory. He smiled. And Lena? I shook my head. She moved on. Another city, starting over. I hear she's rebuilding her life too. I don't feel anger anymore. Not even a twinge. Only clarity. Power feels different when it's earned like that, Marcus said softly. It does, I admitted. Revenge isn't sweet. Humiliation isn't satisfying. What matters is control, self-control, integrity. The ability to rise above the chaos without losing yourself. The waiter returned with my coffee. I took a sip, feeling warmth spread. Comfort, silence, peace. Marcus glanced around. You've changed, Jake, completely, stronger, wiser, more grounded. I had to, I said quietly. The past taught me what mattered. Heartbreak, betrayal, mistakes, they didn't break me. They taught me, shaped me, and now I decide my future, not anyone else. A soft smile tugged at my lips. Funny thing, Marcus. Last year, I thought the real victory would be showing them, Lena, Victor, what I could do. But it's not them, it's me. Owning myself. That's the only victory that counts. He nodded slowly, and here you are, 1 year later. Same date, same place, but a completely new man. Yes, I said. And it feels right. The city outside shimmered, cars passing. People moving, lives changing. I realized my story wasn't about revenge or power or heartbreak. It was about growth, self-respect, emotional freedom. Marcus raised his cup. To growth? I clinked mine. To growth, to clarity, to peace. We sat in silence for a moment, sipping coffee. No resentment, no longing, no need for validation from the past. Only the present. Only the control I had fought to reclaim. 1 year ago, I would have begged someone to show up. Tonight, I sit here alone, but whole, complete, and that's enough. The real victory wasn't in owning a company or watching a betrayal unfold. It was in reclaiming myself. My choices, my life. I smiled again. This is the anniversary rewritten.